Pixar animation studios are completely out of control. Today, we've got the latest news on how much Disney stands to lose with Elio, the film that should cost like $100 million, maybe $150 million. But now, Disney needs to make almost $1 billion for break even for a film that almost nobody knows, has heard of, or holds any interest in. Pixar is in trouble. Hello and welcome back, folks. The studio in somewhere sunny USA is glistening because you are listening in on the latest news. Tomorrow's headlines being written as we speak. Folks, as we get ready to take a peek behind Pixar and expose the truth, click the like button and let's dive in with a panel of pure excellence right now. All right, folks, take a look at this. It's out of That Park Place. And if you are not yet going to this website every day with a bookmark or two, well, folks, that's what you should do. Do it quickly because you want the kind of news that you need to know what's going on in the world of entertainment. Marvin Montanaro, who's that, has this one. Elio budget reportedly skyrockets towards $300 million as Pixar scrambles to finish the troubled production. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into this, but before we do, I want to show you why this is so bad for Disney. And I'm just so sad to say, if you take a look at the Google Trends chart here, this is going to matter a lot because, ladies and gentlemen, the blue is Lilo and Stitch. The red is Elio. The blue represents how many times people have searched for Lilo and Stitch. The red represents how many times they've searched for Elio. And if you take a look, ladies and gentlemen, you can see nobody is searching for Elio. There is no buzz for this. This may be another Buzz Lightyear kind of movie for Disney. They are in deep, deep trouble. When you have a movie that is this poorly known at this point in its pre-release, well, you'd really like to say that the budget is teeny tiny, itsy bitsy, but that's not the case. Pixar's next big release, Elio, is shaping up to be one of the most expensive animated films ever made, with sources now estimating its production cost at nearly $300 million, and that's before marketing. Folks, what do we know about marketing for Disney animated films? $100 to $150 million is the baseline bottoms. It can't go any lower. That eye-watering figure puts the Elio budget in the same cost bracket as major live-action blockbusters and far beyond what's typical for an animated feature, even by Pixar standards. The average cost of producing a high-end Pixar film typically falls between $150 and $200 million. That includes films like Inside Out, Toy Story 4, and Elemental. Competitors like Illumination and DreamWorks often get the job done for under $130. Only Tangled, released in 2010 after years of restarts and rewrites, comes close to Elio's price tag at a reported $260. Now, Elio may claim the top spot as the most expensive animated movie ever made, at least from Pixar. Now, here's the problem, folks. If you take a look at it, what does this look like to me? And what does it look like to you? Strange World all over again. I'm not saying they're going to put the Strange World stuff in it. But in terms of style, they're going back to this way that these very strange characters, the rounded faces and eyes that they've been doing in things like Strange World, things like
Turning Red.
Thing. What was that?
Looks like Turning Red.
Yeah, Turning Red. Exactly. This is not the Pixar look. It's not popular with audiences. And if they go into weird, abstract kind of things again, then this gets, and by the way, there's a trailer out there. You can go watch it, folks. There's a clip from this where this kid talks to an infinity symbol made of glowing ethereal cards and talks about the meaning of the universe. That's the kind of stuff that goes over heads, right? It just goes over people's heads. It's hard to grasp onto, and people get a little worried because they're like, what are you going to teach my kid if, the infinity symbol, I guess representing a cosmological deity of some kind, is telling, kids what the meaning of life is, even if it's a joke. So that's the kind of esotericness that this movie is built upon, but apparently it's built on real numbers that can really be felt by Disney. 300 million. What does this mean? Let's talk about it in pragmatic terms, what it needs to make a break-even point. Well, if it costs 300 million in production, and we can assume safely 150 in marketing, That gets us to, ladies and gentlemen, $450 on the total cost for the film. And if it's at $450, remember Disney gets half of that back, all of the amount that's they receive at theaters, because theaters take their cut. Uncle Sam takes its cut. Half the money flows back to Disney. So they need something like 900. This hurts to say this. Disney needs allegedly $900 million to break even on a movie that might struggle based on what we're seeing to hit $500 million. So we may actually be looking at a movie that is another mega flop. Mega flop. Panel, what say you?
How much did the last Elio film make?
I think this is original, as they call it now, Jonas.
Exactly. Right now, Disney doesn't make money unless it's a sequel. I'm trying to think of anything in the Disney catalog that has actually made money on its first time out of the gate. So unless they're already planning Elio 2 and they're going to amortize it across 2 movies, which unless they're idiots, which maybe there are a few there at the Disney company, I've heard. I don't think they should do that. This to me is an incredible waste of money. I don't think they're going to make their money back on this one. And right now, I'm not seeing much merchandise to speak of. So, yeah, this is a disaster in all forms for Pixar.
Has this movie been remade? Like, are there 2 different versions? Was there an earlier version? I've seen 2 trailers of this movie, and it looked like a completely different story.
Well, that's how you manage to get a budget or a cost like this, Ron. But Ron, Jonas, you guys don't seem convinced that Disney can win with this. I want to change your mind. Permission to change minds.
Of course.
I want to show you some images. What if I told you that $300 million buys this?
That looks like a discount Luma from Super Mario Brothers.
Or this.
Okay.
Or this. How about that, folks? What if I said that's what they're spending all the money on? That's the character that's really going to... This is the sidekick character. Why don't we just call him Emoji Fish?
You know, Ron kind of hinted at it. This movie was probably pretty close to completed. It was supposed to come out right after Inside Out 2, probably a couple of months after that. There was a teaser that says, and I think it's still on YouTube, saying when this movie is coming out. And it's a couple of years ago. I haven't seen it, hadn't got around to that one. Sorry, that's tongue in cheek for those of you not understanding the sarcasm there. I think that they had a finished film. It wasn't very good. And Bob Iger says, well, we need to make people believe that the creative engine of the company is fixed. So we'll kick Adrian Molina, the director of this movie, off of the project. We'll replace him with Domi Shi, who directed Turning Red, which was good, but kind of debatably for children, not really for children. And they'll start the movie from scratch. They'll kick off America Ferrara, who was playing either the mom or the aunt, and replace her with Zoe Saldana, who is playing either the mom or the aunt, whatever the other one was not. And they'll just start over with these films. This is one of the few instances where it's been very public that they changed directions on the movie. We also know that Inside Out 2 had a intense critical period where they recut that film heavily in order to pull out any unusual themes that might have been in that movie. So if Elio happened to have a bunch of those themes, I guess we're going to be hearing about that a couple of months after the movie comes out. I don't know what's going on over there at Pixar, but the fact that they've redone this is both a good sign creatively and a horrible sign from a financial standpoint. If you need them to make money, like say if you're a shareholder in this giant money pit of a company, I would be very disturbed that they didn't just can the movie.
That was what I was going to say was, at what point, when you've already made a movie that's probably cost about $150 million and you realize that you have to spend another $150 to basically remake the entire thing, at what point do you say, wouldn't it be more fiscally responsible to just can this, take the tax break and ride off into the sunset and move on to our next idea? It's not like they haven't canned movies before. Gigantic was coming on for Disney Animation, and they canceled that one. We saw it with Warner Brothers with Batgirl. But instead they decided let's roll the dice. Instead of maybe losing with the tax break, maybe $50 to $75 million, instead we can gamble on losing upwards of 300 plus million. I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Well, How about this? When Inside Out 2 was getting ready to come out, we said there's a 10% chance that this is going to do extremely well. And it hit the 10% chance. They handled the anxiety character in a way that allowed the film to do great, and they scrub-a-dub-dubbed away any of the controversial stuff that would have kept families away. Okay. And then we saw, if you do that with a popular IP, Disney will still make $1 billion to $1.5 billion. Easy. All right. And that's free money. This has a chance to do very well. I don't know that it's even 10%. And I don't know that because when I look at these character designs, yes, you can take very strange, avant-garde, esoteric kinds of things and do well. But it's a heck of a lot harder. And these characters here, they're weird. And if the entire movie is weird, it's going to make it a much harder thing for Disney to get the $900 million. And frankly, Disney should just not put itself in positions where they have to make $900 million on a kid's film to break even. Like, if you make $900 million, you should have hundreds of millions of dollars in profit, minimum. The fact that that's not the case here is a very bad sign for Disney and for Pixar. They need to get their budgets under control and fast. Panel, any final thoughts on Elio, especially? And folks, it's not as if we're just pulling this out of a hat. Remember the chart. The blue is Lilo and Stitch. The red is Elio. Nobody excited for it.
That little bump there, for Elio, that might have just been people that were looking for the frozen pizza.
Exactly.
This reminds me of like a more boring version of Little Nemo. What was it? Adventures in Slumberland. I don't want to poo-poo Disney for trying to do something new with an IP, because we desperately need more of that. The fact that no one's really celebrating that what's that Ryan Coogler movie with the vampires was the first
Sinners?
movie to hit. Yeah,
Sinners.
thank you. Sinners is the first movie to make over $200 million. That's a brand new IP in 7 years. That is that's almost a bloody travesty that we're not seeing new content put out there, and we're just over relying on reboots and sequels. So I applaud them for it, but they didn't do anything interesting. They felt that going weird and avant-garde was the interesting part. And there needs to be more just fiscal responsibility. These folks spend money like it's their actual job to spend the money. And you can do wonderful things on a budget. I don't understand. Like, you do have shareholders that you are beholden to. It's not just Bob's pocketbook. I know he's gotten away with this for a very long time, but it's not paying off for them. And I just wish that they would kind of wake up and understand, like, if they approach things a little more sensibly, focus on telling a nice story, focus on appealing to the masses, and try to hit your 4 quadrants, and not all this weird nonsense and slyly injecting the message here or there, and just tell everybody a bloody fun story that you'll make buckets of money. I don't really think the formula is that hard, especially with animation. We're talking almost $500 million for something that no one even wants to Google search because they can't be bothered. I didn't even know this movie existed until a couple days ago.
Well, and it's I asked the question on Morning Magic this morning. How is it that DreamWorks and Illumination are able to make these movies for $130 million, and Disney, even when they're not remaking the movies, are typically 150, 170, 200? It's just, they're making the same quality of film. And Jonas pointed out, it's not like there's any like major movie stars in this. As I said, Zoe Saldana was in the biggest movie of all time, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows she's the blue girl in Avatar. Like, it has no major celebrities behind it. So why would it have cost that much?
Gamora gonna cost a little bit. That's all I can tell you. All right, folks, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll let you know what's going on. But add this to the list of mega flops that could be coming to Disney this year. We did not have it anywhere near that kind of a list for us, simply because we thought surely Disney was going to keep the cost down. Appears to be false. money getting out of the House of Mouse's hands, and we'll let you know where it stands when this film gets close to release. Put this baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button? Share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated. Anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that. And we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
Right. So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. I mean, she's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.